meeting of April 7th, 2026, regular meeting of April 9th, 2026, the caucus meeting of April 21st, 2026, and the regular meeting of April 23rd, 2026. May I have a motion to approve these minutes?
Motion.
Sedano and Celeste.
Commissioner Pontilivski,
Aye.
Commissioner Basleys, Commissioner Cedeno,
Yes.
Commissioner Sefeli, Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Day,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
yes,
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Chairman Romano.
Yes, before we continue, I'd just like to make one announcement. Yesterday at St. Peter's University, our one and only former Union City Commissioner, and he's been the administrator here for many years. He was honored by the New Jersey chapter of the American Society for Public Administration with the Distinguished Public Service Lifetime Achievement Award. I think he deserves that. The only one that voted against him was Bill O'Day, but that's.
Hold on, Mr. Administrator, who spoke at that event yesterday? And who sang your praises at that event?
You did.
Thank you.
I didn't get invited. How come? I'm a St. Peter's grad. What happened?
You know, look, they wanted Mayor Solomon to go give a welcome remark. He wasn't available. They then asked the deputy mayor. He wasn't available. I was third on the list.
Okay, congratulations on behalf of the board, Ed.
But you have to also note that they also honored our county clerk, who's here today, Junior Maldonado.
I don't even know that. What award, Junior? Same thing? President's Award. I didn't get
That he's not old enough to get a Lifetime Achievement Award quite yet.
Alianza. Abe Alianza. Okay, continue, Madam Clerk.
Turn this over to the administration.
What happened to my?
Mr. Chairman, may I proceed?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any additional items, but I do have some housekeeping items. There is a replacement number 18 to reflect the motion that was made by the board to delete with the option to extend for up to 3 years for number 18.
I need my whole stack.
There's no vote required on that since that reflects the intent of the board. The second item that I have is a replacement for item 26 to reflect that the public hearing on the budget will be June 9th at 6 p.m. Again, no further action needs to be taken on that. The one that does require a vote is I-1, the bond ordinance. As I mentioned to you on Tuesday, the amount is not changing. It's still $23,811,342. None of the projects changed, but the amount of bonds and notes and the grant has changed. And that's why it requires a vote. The amount to issue bonds and notes increased from 19 to 21 million, and the grants are now reflected in the new one is 750,000.
Thank you.
When we get to that part of the ordinances, I'll put it up for a vote.
That's all the items that I have, Mr. Chairman.
According to the policy set by the Board of Commissioners, members of the public are asked to limit their comments to 5 minutes when discussing agenda items and 3 minutes at the conclusion of the meeting for persons who submitted a written request to discuss matters of public interest. At this time, the public may address the board on any item on the agenda. Only please keep your comments limited to 5 minutes. Are there any speakers on the agenda item only?
Good afternoon, Mark Bloomberg from West New York. Give me one moment to get my notes. Thank you. So I had a couple of questions regarding resolution number 5, the temporary appropriations. It's just would like some clarity on what exactly this is, the emergency funding for 2026. Has the budget is this money that we're behind from 225? Is it additional money from 2000. It's just not clear to the public exactly what it is, but
When you adopt a budget, you have to do temporary appropriations. This is, right, Mr. Administrator?
Correct.
Every year we do these all the time up until you have a budget. adopted.
okay, so you underestimated how much money
It's
that
not
you
even
needed
underestimated.
for,
You have to have temporary appropriations until you have a formal adoption of a budget for the year.
okay, all right. I'd like 20 seconds back for the
No problem.
interruptions that I had there.
Just want to
I
answer it
appreciate the
really-
answers regardless.
Thanks.
I wanted to point out too, so a couple of other items that popped up. Item 12A, 75,000 for copier and printer maintenance supplies. Wanted to point out that in 2025, those line items for the same thing added up to $855,000. This contract seems like is an awful large amount of money that's getting spent towards printers, copiers, and so forth on it. Item 16E, $80,000 for flags, flag poles, and accessories. Part of the reason why I'm pointing this out is County Commissioner Guy, in announcing the budget with the 10% county increase, stated, quote, "I will make sure my staff and I scrutinize every purchase, every hire, every project to make sure we are prioritizing Hudson County taxpayers." So I'm just raising concerns here about, are we really watching our items here closely? Looking at item 14A, there's a camera installation at Stephen Gregg Park in Bayonne. What do we know about these cameras, folks? Are they facial recognition? Do they have AI in them? We've been talking a lot about these cameras in the system. I've sent each of you a couple of weeks ago a link to a video indicating some of the issues with some of these cameras. In that video, they showed how vulnerable they can be to being hacked, allowing potential predators live access to the actual feeds themselves. So I think you should get some answers on that before actually voting on it. And then ordinances 1 and 2. I know they're just being introduced today, but it would be great if we could actually get copies of them today before we leave the meeting, especially since one of them pertains to speaking at future meetings. It's very difficult for the public to get ordinances in advance. So it'd be great if we could get copies beforehand rather than waiting a little further. With that said, I did want to turn attentions to the budget overall, the county budget, and I'd like to advocate for a minimum of $2 million to be dedicated to provide legal and rental assistance for families impacted by ICE. A little over 2 weeks ago, a local resident and college student was abducted by ICE in downtown Jersey City. It was captured on video, and thankfully, legal associates of Carmen Mendiola stepped in, I believe on a pro bono basis, and have since been able to get her released from detention. However, on that same day, 7 other people were abducted by ICE at a construction site. I'm not aware that there was any public outcry for these individuals, despite the fact that many were the primary breadwinners for their families. So this $2 million that we're asking for is for the people who are falling through the cracks, essentially. There was a Hoboken bartender who was recently detained by ICE, returning from a trip out of the country. While my understanding is he's still in detention, he's been able to raise tens of thousands of dollars on his behalf, which is amazing. But at the same time, last night, our mutual aid network got a request to try and raise $3,000 for an individual who had a hearing today. And I'm not sure if they were even able to raise that money. So there's a lot of inequality in the system. And so this budget that you folks are working on, getting that $2 million to assist for legal and rental assistance, it ripples through the entire system that we have here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Next speaker, please.
Do I get a little bit of extra time for the?
Fire away.
Give him the 20 seconds, but there's
Okay.
no more dialogue, please, with anybody, so you
Yep.
can get time. Go ahead.
Yeah. If individual stories of people detained and impacted by ICE aren't enough to move the county to take action and provide more funding, then consider that when families lose their income, it has downstream impacts on businesses, municipalities, and the county, resulting in less revenue generated and less taxes collected. Contributing money now to support people impacted by ICE detention will save taxpayers in the long run. So I thank you for your consideration in adding that $2 million to the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
All right. Hello, County Commissioners. My name is Courtney Walker, and I'm a resident of Jersey City. I wanted to speak a little bit more in depth on item 26, the introduction of the budget. Over the past years, we've discussed extensively, Hudson County residents have experienced unprecedented levels of ICE activity. Sorry. Okay.
Our apologies.
Yeah, thank you. Unprecedented levels of ICE activity. It's left families torn apart and seeking help. And we've discussed this at length in these meetings. There's been task forces set up to talk about this more at length. But through all that work, the rubber's starting to hit the road of what we need. It's come to light that we need an infusion of money to support existing services that already exist that people are using but are just too stretched thin with the current system. So, right now, ordinary people are filling those gaps. Many of the people here today are just volunteers who work directly with families to raise money for rent, groceries, or legal services. But we need that investment back into our existing programs now so we can ease some of the pressure that the community is carrying. While the county banned ICE from county property, it just hasn't been enough. And so that's why the $2 million is necessary. And that ask is really specific. It's based on identified gaps in legal defense funding, as well as anticipated increases in demand for rental assistance as more families require support. So the existing programs that this would help specifically include the Detention and Deportation Defense Initiative, or DDDI, Kids in Need and Defense, or KIND, and then other emergency rental assistance that's already administered by the county. So, for example, DDDI is a statewide program that provides legal representation to adults facing deportation, low-income people, because we believe everyone deserves the right to a fair defense in this country. Right now, that program is very strapped. Only about, in 2024, 40% of eligible people received services from that program. Last year, it was 20%. And the state's deciding to keep funding flat in the current state budget. So, there's a gap that advocates are like, there's a $12 million gap in need that we need right now. If you apply that to Hudson County, that means that Hudson County is losing out on $1 million in resources. We represent 8% of New Jersey's population. A similar number of percentage of DDDI referrals are from Hudson County. So the state, by not fully funding that program, is putting $1 million of burden onto the community here in Hudson County to fill. So that's the real need that all of us advocates are talking about. It's really specific, that $2 million. $1 million for adults. Then there's the KIND program, which is additional for kids. That's separate funding. DDI only does adults. And then there's also the additional funding to the emergency rental assistance, which that program has been great here through Hudson County, providing services. But we recognize that it's going under extra strain because of the fact that we're referring people who need help, because families are being separated, because incomes are being cut in half overnight. And so we need to make sure that not only in this crisis of people being taken, but this affordability crisis, that people can stay in their homes and stay housed. So that's why we're asking for $2 million. It's a 0.3% of $700 million of the county budget. And it's a really small share that would stabilize families, expand access to legal representation, and reduce strain on county services. The question isn't whether we can afford to act. It's whether we're willing to in this moment. So thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Courtney-
Chairman,
Yeah, Courtney, if you, go ahead. Who was saying?
County Exec would like to say
Yeah.
a few words.
Yes, I was just going to chime in. Go ahead, Craig.
We lost him.
No, I'm good. Thank you, gentlemen. I hit the wrong button.
Okay, just Courtney, when you can get a chance, just to email the commissioners how you all came to this number of 2 million. Is it all right when you get a chance, please? So send it to all the commissioners. Next speaker. And the county exec. Okay,
Hello,
yes.
my name is Dana and I'm here to talk about the budget and some of the temporary items. I am originally from Secaucus and spent the last 20 plus years living in Jersey City. Years ago, hundreds of us came in or called into county commissioner meetings begging for this governing body to stop our collaboration with ICE. Now I hope we can all see the very real danger that ICE represents for residents of Hudson County. 90% of the people kidnapped and detained in Delaney Hall have no criminal record, and 100% of the people there pose less of a threat to my family than the federal government does right now. With more than 40% of our county residents, almost half of your constituents being immigrants, we have an urgent need to help those harmed. So between county sheriffs, jail, and municipal police, we spend hundreds of millions of dollars to arrest and incarcerate our own community members. Earlier this week, I saw an agenda item with more than $80,000 being spent on just 2 law enforcement vehicles and more than $70,000 on flag accessories. The idea that we couldn't spend a few million to help those whose loved ones have been kidnapped by their own federal government would be unacceptable to me as a taxpayer. I want to share with you some of what local mothers are going through in their own words. Please try to imagine if this was happening to your family. Their uncle took care of my children. He was a source of support and companionship for us. My 8-year-old son is suffering a lot right now because he misses his uncle so much. When my partner was arrested, my children and I would go days without eating during the first few months of his detention. My little girl used to play with her daddy. He's a super dad, and that's what we miss at home. She lives in fear and is depressed. God, please let my little girl be the happy child she used to be. The first few days, I barely slept because my children would call out for their dad in their sleep and wake up crying. I had a high-risk pregnancy during my husband's detainment and gave birth. My husband always took care of us. Part of our life was ripped away. We are trying to survive this. My children are so scared when I mention I'm leaving the house to work or maybe to run some errands. They almost always come with me, and if I'm away at work, they stay home crying, calling me or tracking my location out of fear that they'll arrest me too. And those are just a few of the stories people are enduring right now in Hudson County. We don't have high taxes. We have immoral budgets that fail to prioritize the needs of people. And as long as county government exists, the taxes it collects should go directly to house, feed, educate, and care for the people who need it most. And right now, that is our immigrant community. Thank you.
Thank you. Continue, Madam Clerk.
Hi, my name is Finn. I'm here to talk about the budget. I attend a public school in Jersey City, and I'm here to express my concern about ICE and how it's affecting our community. It pulls families apart and causes financial struggles for the families of people who have been taken by ICE. I have been to Delaney Hall, one of the detainment camps where people are being kept. People will go there to visit loved ones or to help the families that have been affected. Some of my classmates are immigrants, and it is scary to think about one of my friends losing a parent or sibling. I'm here to ask you to step up and help these people who've been affected by things our own government is doing. We should give them money for anything they need, including food, rent, legal help, and other everyday essentials. I hope you will consider using our budget to help those around you. Thank you.
Thank you. Continue, Madam Clerk.
Are there any other speakers on the agenda? May I have a motion?
One more.
I'm so sorry.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ryan, Jersey City resident over a decade now. I actually just want to take a moment, speaking in support of just this $2 million we're asking for in the budget, but just to speak in the context of each of you and your core values, and as some of you prepare to leave office, some of your legacies. Commissioner Kopaz, as an educator married to an educator, I know that you know the impact that adverse childhood experiences can have on children and the ways that they show up at school. And this funding would help these ACEs from compounding. Commissioner O'Day, you recently said, quote, residents need elected officials who will fight for them, and that you'd advocate, quote, for responsible government and progressive values. And while I really appreciate you getting the ball rolling on the task force, I think we both know that fighting for residents requires further action. Commissioner Williams, I know you deeply understand the impact of trauma and violence on both individuals and communities, and I admire your work to address that through caring, capable hands and much of the other work you've done. And this is just yet another way you can reduce harm and protect our young people and families here in Hudson County. Commissioner Aponte-Lipsky, you said back in February that we can always do more to stand up to ICE, although you insisted at the time that a civil rights protection plan would be ineffective. And so if that is the case, then here is a clear alternative for you. This funding would bolster existing programs to help our families here in Hudson County who've been affected. Chairman Romano, I read that your core values are hard work, kindness, and compassion. And the county website calls you a lifelong advocate for marginalized communities. I think it goes without saying, this moment calls for you to live into those core values and that spirit of advocacy. Commissioner Cedeno, you said last year, quote, it pains me to see how fear rips through our community, especially as it affects our children. You stressed in these difficult times, it's more important than ever to support each other. This is your opportunity to do that in this role. Commissioner Rodriguez, in your long career of public service, you've focused on health and human services, women and minority affairs, homelessness, family services, and so much more. And this issue intersects with all of them. And I hope you see the urgency and necessity for this funding. Commissioner Basilis, I respected when you approached a group of us several months ago after a meeting and expressed your interest in working on this issue. I know you've worked extensively with youth and care deeply about family values, and I ask you to advocate that the funding that we're requesting be included in the upcoming budget for that reason. And finally, Commissioner Cifelli, you've been perhaps the most outspoken commissioner at these meetings over the past year about the lawlessness with which ICE is operating. You know the injustices, and surely you can imagine the impact on each person kidnapped, each of their loved ones, and on their families and communities as a whole. And words are nice. They are, and they matter. But we need you to put words to action with this funding. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ryan.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Roxana Marroquin. I am a resident of Hudson County and here as a representative and volunteer with New Jersey Action 21. Action 21 is a Jersey City-based nonprofit community organization founded by Narciso Castillo in 2001, dedicated to serving immigrants. It is focused on community stabilization, family support services, advocacy, and emergency assistance for underserved populations facing economic and social hardships. As communities in Hudson County continue to experience increased fear and economic disruption related to immigration enforcement actions and family separations, Action 21 seeks to expand and formalize a coordinated support initiative designed to provide immediate stabilization services, referrals, emergency assistance, and community outreach to impacted households. The organization has already been assisting affected individuals with families through informal support networks and community response efforts, such as Eyes on Ice at Delaney Hall. I am here on behalf of Monica Calderon, the director of Action 21, who can't be here because she is sitting with immigrants affected by ICE at this very moment. But while I have your attention, I want to share my story of how I grew up undocumented in Hudson County. My family and I migrated from El Salvador in 1988 during the time of a civil war, when villages, entire villages, were being disappeared by a terrorist government who wanted complete and total control. This is the story of all immigrants who arrive here looking for a better life and looking to save their lives. My mother was a 20-year-old woman who crossed the border holding a 5-year-old daughter in one arm and pulling her 2 other daughters, an 8 and a 9-year-old, with another. This is all she carried as she left her country. She brought nothing with her but what she valued most, which was her family. We settled in West New York, where she had a friend, and she could temporarily stay with her. She had no access to social services due to her undocumented status. No food stamps, no rental assistance, no health care, no dental care. She worked 2 to 3 jobs just to feed us and put a roof over our heads. We survived because of the kindness and generosity of our neighbors. The neighbor who took care of us while she worked until midnight, and our neighbor realized that 3 children were alone at home until very late. Everything that my mother earned went towards food and rent. She only required that we stayed out of trouble and that we got our education. But this is a story of victory, because not only did her 3 daughters graduate from college, but 2 of them got our master's degree, and 1 of them is a successful business owner. We are contributing members of our community, giving back and helping the others, just like we were helped when we were children. And this is what Action 21 does. They walk with families like mine to ensure that they receive the services that are not easily or readily available to them. I'm currently a program coordinator and educator with Rutgers University. As a mom, whatever little time I have, I build community gardens. I grow food to share, and I organize with Action 21 and grassroots organizations like Sol and Estamos Unidos. This is what immigrants are about. We are about helping each other and raising our kids so that they can have a better life than we did. I'm asking commissioners that you pass the $20 million funding that would alleviate the violence that is currently being inflicted upon our community. I'm asking that you'll have our backs, just like Action 21 has our backs. Thank you.
Madam Clerk. Another speaker.
Hi, my name is Noah Schwartz. I'm with Nitty Gritty. I live in downtown Jersey City, and I volunteer once a week at the mutual aid tent at Delaney Hall. And these are people who are from, last Thursday, there was someone who got out of Delaney Hall who lives in Jersey City after being in there a month for basically no reason other than ICE pounced on her. I've been there when we've had mothers crying, many mothers crying. One particular incident sticks with me where while the mother was sobbing, 2 women of, I think, high school or college age were playing with her a 3-year-old daughter, and her 3-year-old daughter looked happy and was having fun, but then reached for a stuffed animal to give to her mother because her mother was crying, to make her mother feel better. You cannot tell me that this is not going to affect future generations, the trauma that is being inflicted on people now, not just little ones. I live near City Hall. There was an event a few weeks back where there were quite a few Jersey City Police Department officers there. My understanding is there was a lot of people in the community are like, oh no, is ICE there? Oh no, is ICE there? Okay, this is not just, this obviously affects current immigrants the most, but this is also sending fear throughout the community. Going back to Delaney Hall, people who regularly need, like a $25 gift card at ShopRite goes a long, long way. But there's people with bigger needs. A lot of them are being forced to pay bonds. Many of them, it seems like ICE goes after the breadwinners a lot of times. And so the rest of the family is stuck at home without any ability to pay rent. They need help. We are Jersey City, a community of immigrants, Golden Door, Hudson County being part of that. It's people are going to ask you in the future what you did at this time. And I hope what you did was approve this budget or money in this budget to help those people desperately in need. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers on the agenda item?
Good evening, commissioners. My name's Adrian Gainda. I am a lifelong resident of Hudson County. I'm a community leader and a child of immigrants myself. My parents only became naturalized when I became an adult. So for me, I know my story isn't very unique to Hudson County, us being one of the most diverse counties in the state. We know that our communities look out for one another. And something that motivated me to want to pursue a noble path like community service, and public policy is the adage that budgets are moral documents. So at this point in time, we have to understand that this is a moral standpoint of whether or not our local government has our back in the same way that our communities have each other's backs. This is why it's so important that organizations like Nitty Gritty, North New Jersey DSA, Estamos Unidos, Soul, we've all collectively come together to look out for one another because we know just how crucial these times are, whether it's helping others at Delaney Hall, whether it's organizing any sort of fundraiser in real time to make sure that these families don't go without their basic necessities. This is something that our community has done consistently for years at this point. And again, at this moment in time, it's important to have public officials, elected officials, be those mouthpieces, but at the same time, putting your money where your mouth is and walking the walk of making sure that we have dedicated funding, whether it's for legal services, whether it's for housing assistance. When I worked at the waterfront project, I can tell you the amount of times when my 9 to 5 was over, that the stories that some of these folks that I work with stayed with me until the night, stayed with me in the weekends, stayed with me when I took my time off, because that empathy doesn't turn off when you know that you're the last line of support for some of these families where they could wind up on the streets, they could wind up anywhere that's not safe. And that's something that I think motivates all of us in this room that are coming out here to say, we want to make sure there's some sort of funding allocated. And for me, I think that's the bare minimum, but I know, again, no matter what happens, we're going to consistently be activated in making sure that we ensure there's something. Because I'd rather we have some sort of dedicated pool of funding than nothing at all, because Lord knows that so many families just can't go without anything right now. And we have to, again, look out for one another. I feel like that's always been the power of Jersey City. That's been the power of Hudson County. As diverse as our communities are, we've always had each other's backs. So at this moment in time, again, I'm going to reiterate the question. With the eyes of the county looking at you all, how are you going to vote to make sure that we have a dedicated pool of money to make sure our immigrant communities are protected? Thank you.
Is there any other speakers?
Thank you, everyone. I would like to speak to the budget. My name is Maya Lauer, and I am the coordinator for the Apoyo a Familias Separadas, AFS program, or Support for Separated Families in English, run by Centro Comunitario Seus of North Bergen. Alongside the numbers, the stories coming out of Hudson County speak to the scale of the crisis in our community. Here are a few from our clients with identifying information concealed. When Immigration and Customs Enforcement detained Sarah's husband on December 15th, they left her behind with 2 children and no way to pay the rent. Her 4-year-old was struggling with an autism diagnosis at the time, and her 7-year-old was seeking a therapist for depression. By the time she came to our office at Seus, she was 2 months in debt to her landlord and had no official lease for her apartment. By her second visit, her husband had already been deported to Honduras. Before ICE took Adrian's partner, he had a steady job and 3 years under his belt in the United States. But when his partner was detained, he had to leave work to take care of his 2 stepchildren full-time. For months, he struggled to find new work and had no one to pick up his kids from school. When Yuri lost her husband to an ICE raid, she also lost her main breadwinner. With no money for groceries and no paycheck till Monday, she spent one weekend with only oil and chicken in her pantry. When Wilson was sent to Delaney Hall, he left behind a 17-year-old son, Kevin. Now Kevin is living alone in his dad's apartment with no access to a bank account, no way to pay for a lawyer, and no other family in the United States. When a community member is detained or deported in Hudson County, the effects ripple through the entire family. Those left behind cannot pay their rent. They struggle to afford groceries. There is often no one to care for their children. They can lose their community and support systems, their sleep and sanity. They are often too scared to leave their homes for fear that they too will be taken. The toll of deportation and detention is more than a legal one, as you've heard today. It is also mental, financial, and social. And the cost of this crisis is felt in every corner of their lives. Through working with Hudson County families that have had a loved one detained or deported, we have seen 2 priorities emerge: access to legal services and help paying the rent. But wait lists for pro bono attorneys are long, and for families with limited income and varying status, many private attorneys and rental assistance programs are simply out of reach. This is why a $2 million funding measure before you is so important. We are too small an organization at Seus to fund legal fees or rents, but this resolution would do that. Expanded access to legal services and rental assistance would help moms like Sarah catch up on the rent so that she can pay for a therapist for her kids. It would equip dads like Saul to get their partners out of detention so they no longer have to parent alone. It would allow teenagers like Kevin to access a lawyer so that his dad can return home. For families unable to access legal services and rental assistance, this resolution offers a path forward. It is a chance to reunite, to stabilize, and move ahead with their lives. And an investment in our families is an investment in our clients, an investment in our community, and an investment in our county as a whole. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me the time to speak to the board today. My name is Hugh Morley, and I am Administrative Director at Centro Comunitario SES of North Bergen with Maya Lau, who just spoke. SES was formed in 1993 by Central American refugees who fled the civil wars of that era and organized themselves to seek legal status for their community of immigrants. Maya talked about the impact of the raids on the families of undocumented people who come to SES for help and who we are trying to help. I want to stress how important this funding is, not only to those immigrants, but to all of us. And I'm talking about the 2 million that other people here are speaking about. I have been a volunteer with SES for most of the past 3 decades. I've lived in Hudson County and I know the rich history of immigrants in the county and the waves of arrivals. They were Jewish immigrants, Irish immigrants, Germans, Italians, Indians, through the Cubans and Latin Americans, all making their mark on the county. Those immigrants, like the ones who can benefit from the funds that we are talking about today, were part of the fabric of our county. They were all Hudson County residents of equal status. Most of us, if not all, know someone who has been the target of this immigration crackdown. Whether they are friends, family, work colleagues, fellow sport enthusiasts, or workers at a business we frequent. This money will help people who are our neighbors, who help build and maintain the life we lead, who boost the local economy. That is why the families under fire today by the federal immigration authorities today deserve our support. I liken the impact of an ICE detention or deportation to that of a natural disaster. In a blink of an eye, the lives of these families suffer a massive rupture that will change their lives forever. We don't just leave the victims of natural disasters to fend for themselves. Likewise, we should help these families to get back on their feet, regardless of their legal status. And let us be clear, many members of the families we see and who might benefit from this money are legal residents or citizens. They are suffering simply because they built a family unit around someone who was not. Many of them have children who are citizens. This funding will go to help them with the basic building blocks they need to try and regain stability. Funds for legal services and rent will not go on luxuries or peripheries. They are fundamentals to helping these families pick themselves up and start trying to make the best of the bad situation. And I can't stress enough how difficult it is to find these services. We have people who, Maya, and we have another woman who in the office at SAES who spends a lot of hours trying to find legal services and help people with rental issues. And it's really very difficult to find. The great costs of rent and legal services means that organizations such as ours and the other organizations here, Action 21, Nitty Gritty, Sol, Estamos Unidos, and others, cannot help. We don't have those resources. We can search for ways at other agencies who can help meet the family needs, but our government has the resources to do so. As a taxpayer, I am happy for my taxes to be spent in this way. I have lived here for 30 years and I believe in the county, and I'm happy for this money to be spent. And I believe that the polls that show that 70% of those polled are against these immigration seizures also reflect the willingness of other taxpayers to help fund the kind of services we are talking about today. I ask that you enact this funding and continue the county's grand tradition of supporting new Americans and supporting our neighbors in their time of need. Thank you very much for your time.
Madam
Seeing-
Clerk, continue, please.
Seeing no other speakers, may I have a motion to approve all the items
Motion to,
on the consent?
one more.
I'm sorry.
Hello, my name is Shireen Lopez. I'm a proud Hudson County resident, lifelong. And I'm also here to speak on the agenda for, or the item for the budget. I am a volunteer at the Union City Community Garden. I'm also a volunteer with Estamos Unidos. And I can't tell you how much, I mean, no, it sounds like a lot, but $2 million is the bare minimum that we can provide to these families for legal support and rental support. Especially considering, the tax cuts that we give to, developers in our county, right? But I can't speak enough, and everyone did such an amazing job. I can't speak enough on how difficult, taking away a breadwinner is. And I know that there are some people who would say, or would be against this, right? Why, continuing like welfare support and, people who, giving more money to people who, maybe don't deserve it. there's that type of negative rhetoric, and it's important for us to acknowledge, right? But what I need to say is that these people were living and sustaining their families perfectly fine without any sort of assistance. They were paying the rent. They were feeding their families. They were contributing members of our communities. And the rug was pulled under their feet. I can tell you that I'm a single mother, and I have personally given more than $2,000 of my own money in supporting people with rent, groceries, and other essentials. Now, I don't mind doing it, but I would rather use that money for my son's college, right? So I think we have an important opportunity here where you're listening to your constituents. I'm a taxpayer and I want my money to be utilized in supporting my community members. And there are situations when, I'm supporting this young man whose father was taken, and the day after his father was taken, the people where he rents the room from raised the rent on him. He is 18 years old. He was splitting the rent with his father. And now the next day, he had the people that he rents from tell him, no, now I'm adding $100 to your rent. It's unimaginable right now. It's depressing. And you have the power. And your constituents are telling you what to do with this money. So please, I hope that you really consider this funding. It'll go a long way. It's only the beginning. And it would make a really big difference. Thank you so much.
Next speaker.
Hey folks, my name is Anupia and I've been a resident of Weehawken since 2022, Hudson County 2021. I would like to speak about the budget. As we're all aware, ICE has been terrorizing our communities. I'm joining my voice with everybody else to implore the county to provide $2 million for rental and legal assistance. I know Chairman Romano, you asked why $2 million. I know Courtney will send you this info, but just so the public can also hear, New Jersey advocates are calling for $20 million, which is currently funded at 8.2. So there's a shortfall of 11.8. Hudson County represents about 8% of the New Jersey's population, so that's roughly $1 million. That's in just legal services that our community is going without. The other $1 million would go towards rental assistance programs because, as we know, this will keep going on as long as we have this president. So that's where that number comes from. Personally, same as the person before me, I have personally donated as much as I can to several of these GoFundMes. I'm deeply familiar with the fear that someone I love might be kidnapped, so it's devastating to see that fear come true for so many people. I cannot and will not see more families fall into financial turmoil because their breadwinner got kidnapped, or a child has to find work now because they have to support their family. This is ridiculous, inhumane, and needs to end. These events have ripple effects throughout the economy because the money I donated could have and would have gone towards supporting some local business or start my own business, but I'm having to fill in the gap created by the federal government that the local government is letting exist. As we know, $2 million is only 0.3% of the county budget of $700 million. This is very doable. You all have the chance to do the right thing here, both morally and financially. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other speakers?
Madam Clerk?
May I have the motion to approve all the items?
Second.
Lopez and Lipsky?
Commissioner Pontilivski,
Aye.
Commissioner Basleys, Commissioner Cedeno,
Yes.
Commissioner Sefeli,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner O'Day,
I have to abstain on 12B. I'm gonna vote no on 16E. And aye on the rest.
Continue, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner O'Day, are you done?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Rodriguez,
Carrie, Dad? Carrie?
You're muted, Carrie, Dad.
Commissioner Williams,
Yeah.
Chairman Romano.
Yes. Thank you.
We have two ordinances for introduction. One
Sorry,
is,
did you hear me?
No, you
no.
were muted. What's your vote on
Hear
the
me,
agenda?
yes?
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you. We have two ordinances for introduction. One, Abe mentioned, it's the replacement I-1. It's the Finance and Administration Board Ordinance providing for various 2026 park improvements by and in the County of Hudson, State of New Jersey, appropriating $23,811,342. Therefore, including $750,000 grant received or expected to be received from the Hudson County Open Space Trust Fund, and authorizing the issuance of $21,963,182 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. I need a sponsor and I need a second.
Sponsor.
Was that you, Billy?
Sponsor.
O'Day and Rodriguez.
Okay, a roll call on the ordinance. Commissioner Pontilivski.
Aye.
Commissioner Basleys. Commissioner Cedeno.
Yes.
Commissioner Sefeli. Commissioner Lopez. Commissioner O'Day.
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams. And Chairman Romano.
Yes.
The second ordinance for introduction, Board of the County Commissioners Ordinance amending ordinance number 480-8-2018 pertaining to public participation at meetings of the Board of the County Commissioners. This is a roll call. Commissioner Pontilivski. Commissioner Basleys.
Yes.
Commissioner Cedeno.
Yes.
Commissioner Sefeli. Commissioner Lopez. Commissioner O'Day.
Before I vote yes, I want to read it because I know some people asked some questions about it.
Right, Carol, you want to read it?
Well, yeah, that's fine. That works for me.
You read it, Carol. Carol, you
It's in response to last meeting that we had and a commitment I made. So if you could read that into the record, it's short.
Do I have that one?
Want to let Florio do
I
something?
don't have that copy.
Whereas the participation of members of the public in the meetings of the Board of County Commissioners is an essential part of the democratic process. And whereas the board wishes to ensure the opportunity of participation to the public for all matters appearing on the agenda at the start of each meeting. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Hudson that 1, no item listed on a commissioner public meeting agenda may be tabled, carried, pulled, or withdrawn until the public has had an opportunity to comment or speak thereupon during the period designated for participation on agenda items only. Section 2.9 of the Administrative Code is amended as indicated above. The bylaws of the Board of Commissioners are amended so as to reflect the foregoing modification.
Thank you. Commissioner Pontilivski.
Aye.
Commissioner Basleys. Commissioner Cedeno.
Yes.
Commissioner Sefeli. Commissioner Lopez. Commissioner O'Day.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yeah.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes. Yes.
Chairman Romano. This concludes the items of the business of today's agenda. Are there any comments from the commissioners on the board?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Chair, do we have anyone from the Hudson County School of Technology here?
Remotely?
Remote?
I think they're at a conference.
We asked for someone that has.
Yeah.
Correct?
So somebody's on,
So Chair, I'm gonna ask that they hold off on any actionable items at their board meeting, since I have some questions about some of the costs that would affect my decision-making on our budget, since we are voting to approve their budget, correct? That's correct, right?
right? Is that correct in this?
The amount that is being funded in the budget was approved by the Board of School Estimate, and that number is binding on the budget. You can't change that.
What if we vote the budget down?
Excuse me, hold on. Mary.
Chairman.
Yes,
Chairman.
Craig.
Chairman.
Go ahead, Craig.
Chairman.
Go ahead.
Can I have 30 seconds?
Yeah, Craig, go ahead.
Commissioner Cole. And my commitment that before any folks that are discontinued, we will definitely come back to this board, and we will definitely take a look at all these programs, no doubt.
That's Fanny.
Thank you,
also.
County Executive. And as I stated many times, I can't thank the county executive enough for all he does. Our education programs, he has the same vision as I do and as our board. Not only is it about sending kids to college, but sending people to careers, right? And that's what a vocational district does. And I received information that we were going to cut our post-secondary programs, which would include carpentry, HVAC, welding, plumbing, electrical, automotive, medical, cosmetology, and real estate. Programs that we've been running for the last 35 years. And guess what? They're tuition-based. So if we don't have enough students, the class doesn't run. So they're self-sufficient. So if we're a vocational district and we're not cutting anything that's essential, what is that? I need to know what the vision and mission of the leadership, if they are going to recommend that as a essential, that you're telling me that a post-secondary career program that has been running for 35 years for adults to receive certification, that's tuition-based, that pays for itself, what are we doing? So I need to meet with the Hudson County Schools of Technology leadership. They'll meet with our education committee before our next meeting every Tuesday and Thursday. Half the board will meet on Tuesdays, half the board will meet on Thursday. Again, county executive has been nothing but a hero for us in education. We just opened up a vocational building. We're not going to go backwards. These post-secondary programs are so important. We have, I think, over 300 adults, 18 and above, who are receiving real education in programs that are going to give them a career for life. This is exactly the program that we need, and we need to expand more, not take away what we're doing right. So I ask that every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 o'clock, the Hudson County Schools of Technology entire leadership team will meet with us. We have many questions from all of my colleagues that have been asked about since the forensic audit has been put in place. If you look at the audit that it says reevaluate the offering of post-secondary programs and adult school programs. If I had to evaluate or reevaluate, I would say we need more, not take away one of the true vocational programs that we have. I know the county executive is on board. I just need to know what our mission and vision is going forward, because this is the exact program that we should be expanding, not taking away. This is an excellent program, has been great for us for 35 years. We run multiple sites. You know, I have many questions of what happens to a cosmetology student who is in year one, has done all the hours, and now all of a sudden we don't have the program.
Okay, also with regards to that, I think that I was told that they were down at some convention, because I have concerned when I heard also is Commissioner Cedeno, because she is also being affected, correct, Fanny? So we definitely want to set up meetings with us, the education committee, about what is going on with that. So please schedule, advise the superintendent. I know he was going to try to have a representative on. I don't see it. But please follow up with us. Abe, with an email to us, all the board. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, so a few items. First, on what Kenny spoke about, I agree with him wholeheartedly. I don't think there's any convention that allows an agency, autonomous or otherwise, to say they can't have a person remotely available for an hour and a half. I think that's
Agreed.
right. Thanks, Craig. I mean, that's just disrespectful.
Bill, not to cut you off, but we were all supposed to be told what the cuts were going to be.
Before they happen.
Prior to them being enacted.
This is the second time that I have, as the education chair of the committee, have asked.
Disrespect.
Once I was told there would be no tuition. Then I find out they went behind my back and went to a superintendent. I had to apologize to my colleagues. Again, I told my colleagues that there would be no essential cuts until they meet with us. What do? They just do it behind our back. So all we're asking for is transparency and be part of
The
the
discussion.
solution.
Yeah, the solution.
We've been 100% supportive of leadership. Over the last 12 years I've been, some of the colleagues, many more years for, but especially with the new leadership, all we're asking for is transparency and that we don't get blindsided by things that are essential. Thank you, Chair.
And that goes also, I think, Abe, please, somebody's on from the school of the community college. That also goes for the community college. Before they do enacting their cuts, please let the education committee and us know what they're going to be cutting. Thank you. Continue, Madam Clerk. Oh, Bill, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go, Bill.
Kenny, who never interrupts anybody.
Sorry.
The other major, I guess, it's two other items, but the other major issue is, so now the budget's on. The budget was introduced. We had many speakers here today to speak about the request for funding for using the term that we have from the task force, immigrant safety. Food, shelter, and legal representation. All reasonable requests, in my opinion. Many organizations were cited today that are in the field, working, helping, assisting. And what I find noble is that none of the money you requested for was for any of those groups. That you didn't come and ask us, hey, we want administrative dollars for this person or that person for anyone else. So I find that to be very, very, very noble. It's our budget now. It's our job now to within this budget, address what you raised. I think we have to allocate additional dollars for rental assistance, not only for undocumented, but even for documented in this. We're under a tough situation in this county, and I don't think we can deny anyone who needs that. We may have to bump up food services and our food insecurity division that was started by the county executive is laudable. It's strong, and we may need to make it stronger and find other dollars for it.
Yeah, and
also, no individual should be denied access to legal services that finds himself or a family member subject to detention. And I saw one that I forwarded to the county that's more maybe short term. I guess it's kind, but there is the issue of the impact on youth and those under the age of 18. And I think that is outside of other areas. That's something we should, not only within the budget, but that we adopt, but in what we have now, figure out a way to be helpful of that. Because I worry and I'm very concerned about the impact on our young people.
I know in a proactive way, we're working to extend the We Are One contract that's coming up for expiration in the fall. And already $350,000 has been spent by the county to immigrant families for pro bono services. So we thank you for that, and for that the executive branch is working to try more ways. So I know with regards to that, Jenny Davis would like to come up. You're next anyway.
Well, when I finish,
go
I'd
ahead.
appreciate if you let me finish.
Go ahead.
First. It's the first time. I'm usually the guy that interrupts people, so but that's okay. So I think that it's on us now, right? What those line items are, how we reallocate existing dollars in the budget. Do we put additional funding in the budget? That's on us now, right? It's our budget. It's no longer the county executive's budget. Whatever, 5 minutes ago, it became our budget, right, Mr. Administrator?
Yes.
We can change it, we can amend it, and I guess the county exec can veto it if he doesn't agree with some of the stuff, but I don't think that would happen, and it's never happened in as long as I know. But one of the things I think that's just important to note, and why I think that the issue that many speakers raised today is, first, I want to say the county has come pretty far since 2017 and 2020. Having sat here, and it's easy for me because I voted no on the ICE contract in 2017, and I voted no on the ICE contract in 2020. But I think we've come far from that, but I think we have more to go. Because from those years, prior to 2017 through when the contract ended, the county profited from those contracts, right? Those dollars generated from those contracts helped keep taxes down. Anyone can refute me. We made money. In fact, I could probably cite in the record statements made that we made money from that. So now's a chance to give some of that money back. And I think that's what us as a board should look to do as part of the budget process. Thank you.
Okay, continue, Madam Clerk.
Are there any comments from the Chief of Staff to the County Executive?
There are. Even though, Commissioner, you might have abandoned me on a few of these comments already. But as the county executive said on Tuesday, and I'm talking about the budget, let's all be clear. A budget reflects a community's values, compassion for those who are most vulnerable, resources for those who need them, and services that benefit every member of our community. We are a county government. We have a duty to serve all people in our community. All of those are Hudson County values that are represented in this budget that our staff worked very hard to prepare. We have funding for rental assistance. Be clear, funding to counter food insecurity, funding for projects that will be built with union labor, following County executive order, lowering the threshold for use of PLA agreements. We have funding for legal assistance, everybody, legal assistance through nonprofits such as Northeast New Jersey Legal Services and We Are One. These organizations provide pro bono, legal and immigration services, as well as housing and family law services to residents. Earlier this year, Hudson County established 2 committees to ensure a clear line of communication between county government, residents, and immigration advocacy organizations. I see many members of the committee here today, and I thank you. I thank you all for your advocacy and bringing issues to light and helping to work with us. But I'm asking you to continue to work with us. With your help, Hudson County was the first county in New Jersey to take action against unlawful immigration enforcement. And we are the only county right now that I know of, and I could be wrong, but they're the only county I know of actively engaging with the public to provide streamlined services that cater to our immigrant community. We banned unlawful civil enforcement efforts from county property through a January executive order. Others did this after us. We were first. As I always like to say, Hudson leads, the state follows. And to date, every referral, every single one, every referral for rental or housing assistance and food insecurity, every single one, has been successfully addressed that has come from that committee. So I just want to give credit where credit is due. And I'm going to look at my county staff and the department directors who've been working tremendously hard to provide the resources to those most in need. So thank you to all of you for helping. No need for applause. Thank you. Hudson
No,
County
they need
is
to be-
even
They need to be applause because the directors do a great
They
job
do. a
trying
great
to help.
job. They really do. And I want you to understand, we are exploring other options. We're exploring developing requests for proposals that would provide funding to nonprofit organizations who offer non-discriminatory legal services in several areas like housing, immigration, and litigation defense for families who are affected by these blasphemous immigration policies from Trump. We all know families affected. We all have a story. I guarantee you I have many. And I've been involved in stuff with immigration since the 1990s. So understand this is personal to each and every one of us, not just to all of you, but to all of us and to our directors who deal with these stories every day. They do a yeoman's job of dealing with situations that are untenable and that absolutely should not exist. I also understand that no matter what we do, for the people who are affected, it will never be enough. And I really wish I could solve that problem, but I can't. But let me be clear about something. This administration and our directors here are committed to bringing about actual positive change for our most vulnerable communities within the guidelines of what we are allowed to do as a county. To insinuate otherwise, to insinuate that our budget is immoral, is just not fair to those doing all this work. The county has set precedent for the state. We have taken affirmative action. We have helped hundreds of families to ensure that children do not go hungry. And we have taken action to prevent families from going homeless, immigrant families, families in need, families who've lost jobs, all of the above. We don't discriminate. We are helping all of them because those are the most in need in our community. While I appreciate
sentiments that we are not doing enough, that we need to do more. I respectfully ask everybody here to look at the steps Hudson County has taken, is taking, and will take. Because we are committed to ensuring the welfare of immigrants and those most vulnerable among us. And I don't want anyone to question that here. Thank you for your time.
Madam Clerk?
This is the time for persons who submitted a timely written request to address the board on any matter of public interest.
One thing, just, first I want to say I concur how great the directors in the county are. And I just want to ask Frank Mazza, who I think, and the advocates would bear this out, goes above and beyond trying to be helpful whenever any instance is brought there. Frank, I just had one question to ask you. And if you're not sure of the answer now, then you can let me know later. Are you comfortable, based on what the number of cases you're currently dealing with, as well as the cases that you had throughout an entire year last year, that we currently have enough money in this budget for all the rental assistance that would be required through December 31st?
Well, that depends on what the state is going to provide the county commissioner.
When would we know that?
That's not a conversation that I'm having, Commissioner.
But so last year, at the end of the year, did we have situations where we did not have enough dollars and people had to wait until the new year to get funding?
We did have that, but those people did get the services.
Understood. But they had to wait until the new year and new funding, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And if that situation gets worse, there may or may not be enough funding in the new year. Or, to make my point, if you've already spended funding early this year because you didn't have enough at the end of next year, wouldn't that on its face raise a concern that by the end of this year, that situation could be worse and that more individuals may be in a holding pattern and potentially find themselves evicted because of how much money we've already expended up to that point in time?
I think that's true, Commissioner, but I think the reason for that is probably a bit more complex than just the money we're talking about here. Baked into the HR1 bill is $78 million additional cost just to operate welfare. That doesn't speak to if there are penalties that are anchored to the error rates. For example, if the error rate for food stamp goes above 6% on a low end, the state and the county might be responsible for 5%, and on a high end, 15% of the benefit. To put that in context, we pay $20 million a month in food stamps in this county. State pays about $160 million. So that shortfall is huge, and about $300 billion, about $3 billion is being pulled out of the Medicaid budget. So people are going to lose those benefits. So if we're just focusing on this, I think that the issue with the budget relates to hundreds of millions of dollars that are coming out as a result of HR1.
Well, I think I want to thank you because I think you just made my point. And my point is everything you just said is more concern for me to worry about whether there's enough money for rental assistance by October, November, September this year, and all the more reason to look and try to identify within this budget either moving dollars or finding new dollars to put in to make sure that those dollars are there. So I appreciate your candor. I think you made my point even stronger than it was when I asked you the first question.
Okay. Continue, Madam Clerk.
This is the time for persons who submit a timely written request to address the board or any matter of public
Chairman.
interest.
One second. You're right. Go ahead.
I was just listening and reading all these papers that they provided to us, and I do understand where all of them are coming from, and also our body here, and also our very forceful, purely colleague O'Day too. We all, everybody that is here, have a heart, and we all feel for everybody else out there.
And some of us has family that going through, or friend, very close friend that is going through right now. And I was just trying to touch some point, but our assistant to our county executive touched those points, so I don't have to repeat myself again. But one thing that I want to say to all these groups, we always welcome you, and we could do partnership. And all those directors, all those groups could reach out to us and talk to us, especially our law department, how we could help financially in terms of helping with legal service, because we are working on that. Our director, Masa, also how we could help with housing, helping with rent, our director for food. So we working on that. We are doing that more, and also is hard because it's not, we would like to do it. We would like to help every single person, but it's impossible. And as you know, the money comes from the state, as our director was explaining to us right now, and it's not in our hands sometimes. We're trying to do our best, and we kind of bending backward. And we have a county executive that it's amazing what he's trying to do. And I don't like to talk personally stuff, but let me tell you something. Myself, every Tuesday, once a month, go to Kearney, rent a truck first from U-Haul, go to Kearney, pick up food, drop it to my church, and we feed over 100 families. And I don't like to talk things like that, but I have to tell you that. It's not you only. The only thing, I do not like to say things that I do, but I have to tell you that, so like that you know that other people, and there's more like me, are doing things too. And we are trying, and we keep trying, and we're gonna be trying and doing to help every single person that we are able to help, because like I say, it's impossible. And it's a lot of people we need out there, and more than ever, because our government that come from Washington, that doesn't come from New Jersey. And the money right now is really, and all those grants, we are struggling right now to get those grants and to help everybody else out there in need. Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome. You're right. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Just a reminder, those speakers are to limit their comments to 3 minutes. And my first speaker is Raymond Mitchell.
All right. I just would like to say that I feel for everybody here and what ICE is doing to people that you know or people that you feel for. But what's on the local, the county, and the state as well, the abuse. Okay? It's not just other people and ICE and everybody, it's also on the local, county, and state. Right here, I just want to go back in time with Brian Stack when he put his hands on my neck. Okay? Also, now my father strangled and tortured here during the pandemic of March 30th, 2020. This is the North Bergen Harborage owned by Hackensack Marine Hospital in North Bergen. I got the Oprah report back from the county prosecutor and trying to find out about my father's, Esther Suarez saying that my dad had COVID. Adam, would you like to share this and speak about this?
No.
You could open it in front of everybody? Why? He's in the prosecutor's
No
office.
dialogue. You speak and use your minutes to speak to us, please. Thank you.
Okay, so also I just want another thing that happened in Sea Caucus with the Mayor Ganelli and also Dennis Miller, the chief, how he fabricated a lie about me as well. Okay? My house was flooded and everything during all this time, and the retaliation still going on. And throughout not only Hudson County, but Bergen County as well. I also want to show you that I was a health inspector in West New York, okay? Lost my job for retaliation, and also I was a state inspector in the state of New Jersey. Also lost my job for retaliation. But what happened during the whole thing with Brian Stack, okay? Brian Stack stated that he was going to help out and investigate. I got these 2 letters from him. I also opened it, the request, still on April 16. Still have not received anything from him about his investigation here that he was going to do. Here are the letters from his office, okay? His office here. Union City Mayor's office, and also from his Senator's office as well. Still nothing. This has been going on since April 3rd of 2024. This is 2026 now that he said he was going to help me. March 30th, 2020 was when my dad was strangled, and also he was, to me, tortured. Okay, just like all these other people that are having problems with ICE everywhere else. Now, North Bergen Harbridge, Hackensack Meridian, still in the same building. All you have to do is open that door and try to revive my father. My father was never revived for some reason. I don't know what happened to the standard of care. And all I got is 3 minutes, so I can't even get anything here with anybody.
Again, our
So,
sincerest condolences on your
So-
loss. The board feels your pain, and thank you, and
But
God bless.
can I get
No,
anything? Oh, wait, the letter that everybody said about, to resume my father and stuff. Did
continue.
you guys do it? It's been a month almost.
What was the
continue,
letter?
Madam Clerk.
Was that the letter
The
for?
only person
Resuming
that, the only,
the body?
Madam,
was-
you know,
couldn't hear it.
Rodriguez and
Madam Clerk.
O'Day said he was gonna sign, but O'Day was the only one last time that he said he would
Continue with this next
sign, but
one.
everybody else would not sign for it.
Continue, yeah, get a letter. Next speaker.
So would everybody
Mark
else sign as
Clerk.
well?
All right, Mark,
I appreciate
step up,
that.
please.
Thank you, guys. for
Thank
everything.
you.
Appreciate
We'll
you.
sign. We'll all sign the letter. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, little change of topic, but it is something that I've brought up from time to time in the past. And it's really talking about accessibility and participation in county meetings. It's not often that I have a little extra time, given that we only get 3 minutes to speak. One thing that's just recently come up that I've tried bringing to the clerk's attention is that when we submit requests to speak, we're no longer getting the confirmation emails letting us know that we've been approved. The website says we've been approved, but we don't know. And there are a number of people here who do not get those confirmation emails. I've asked to be that you include on the website, as well as the emails that we receive, about the free parking. A lot of people don't know about it. It discourages them from coming. I've asked for it before. There's no reason not to include it. It's an easy tech fix. Something else I've asked for, that I was told it was in the works. I guess it's still in the works, but you should be electronically publishing the full resolutions and the full ordinances as well. I shouldn't have to ask for a copy of an ordinance that's being introduced, and the clerk shouldn't be burdened with 40 people asking for it either. Just publish it, and we have access to it all. It's simple. Other towns are able to do it in Hudson County. There's no reason why we shouldn't. And then I know this is a point of contention, but allow people to participate remotely. Commissioner Cifelli, it's nice to see you in person. I don't know what your reasons are. You've missed a lot of meetings in person.
Mr. Bloomberg, have pneumonia.
Fair enough. Just from the standpoint of you have the flexibility and the choice for attending or not. I have a 40-minute commute each way to come here, on top of spending time at the meetings and other obligations as well. And I'm sure there are people that don't make it here because they can't afford that time. I understand, you can put a process in place requiring people to sign up in advance if they wish to participate, because I know you're concerned about how long the meetings actually go. But Commissioner O'Day, you actually requested a couple of meetings ago that somebody look into the legality of the way that we're doing it. Maybe we are not in compliance with the ADA laws. So that's just something to look into. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that on those items. On ordinance number 1, just in advance, that was introduced today, North Bergen still owes the county over $100,000 for Braddock Park. That's money that's supposed to be going to open source funding. So I'm going to say in that ordinance, there should be no funding for North Bergen until they've replaced that money at this point.
Please email legal counsel Albarico to give you an answer with that one.
Yep, I
Thank you.
certainly will.
Thank you.
you.
Next speaker.
Next
Can
speaker.
we,
Go ahead.
the request to post not only what the items are, but the actual physical fact sheet and the resolution and ordinance is not an unreasonable request. You email them to us. Once the agenda is set on Tuesday, taking what that is and just making it available for people to access and download or print or read is certainly a very reasonable request. So I Mr. Chairman, I would ask that we just do that
Yeah.
like right away.
We can do
Yeah,
that.
that's.
I'll do that.
Okay, yeah, no
We'll do
problem.
that.
Go ahead, next speaker.
Jennifer Siegel,
Next
Rick.
speaker.
Rick Johnson,
Next speaker.
Vincenzo Badia,
Next speaker.
Adrian Ghainda,
He spoke before.
Spoke
Not here.
before, Go ahead.
Spoke earlier.
Finnegan Payton,
Next speaker.
Dana Payton,
Next speaker.
Maya Lauer, I know she spoke earlier. You done? Okay. Courtney Walker,
I just wanted to say thank you very much for listening to all of us, for all the stories. I know the chief of staff earlier made a comment about how we should be better about working with you all, but I think we have, in good faith, been working pretty hard with you all. We've been meeting bi-weekly in our task force meeting. I appreciate all the directors, the time that they've made available for us. We're just saying that the existing resources which have already been committed are being stretched incredibly thin by the tactics of the federal administration. And we're feeling that as a community. And so to have, the chief of staff insinuate that we're criticizing, it's providing feedback to be better. I get a feedback performance review. I have to take the tough feedback on the chin, and I have to say, hey, I'm going to do better at my job in X, Y, and Z. And so, in no way are we saying that the county's not executing on services. We're just saying you need to prepare those services for more. And the state needs to fund their services more. And if the state's not going to fund those services, that burden's being put on our community, and we're asking you to fund those services. And I think it's really a shame that that's the tone that's being taken right now when this is democracy in practice. And, in Hudson County, I got into advocacy here because I care about the state of our democracy. We have the lowest voter turnout in the entire state of New Jersey. We deserve to have a healthy democracy, a healthy participatory democracy where people provide feedback, and that shouldn't be shut down. So we've done a lot of work. We've done our homework. We've done our research. Please respect that time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Brian Heisinger,
Courtney, I just want to say, I appreciate all the work you've done. I appreciate the fact that you've actually stepped in and chaired several of the external task force meetings, helped drive the conversation, been more fair, open, reasonable. Yeah, I think sometimes we in government just get too defensive. We shouldn't look at everything as an attack. We should look at it as a conversation. And from those conversations, great things can often happen.
Go ahead, Brian.
Thanks. Yeah, I was a little taken aback by both, you're my commissioner, Commissioner Aponte Lipsky, all the chief of staff's comments. It did feel like there was a suggestion that we've, that we are, I don't know, like ungrateful, and that we are unnecessarily critical here. If the standard is absolute perfection and making sure that every single person is everything that they could possibly need, of course, that's not attainable. But it is our job as advocates for our community to advocate for our community. And I just want to stress, I fear that because this is something that has been in the news for the last year and a half, because we've seen what's happened in Chicago and Minnesota, which have been so dramatic, that this has become normalized for us, and that it seems like what is going on here is actually not that bad. And I just want to emphasize that it is very much that bad. It is very much a crisis right now. And so I know that budgeting especially is something where you can get really in the weeds and it can feel, it can feel kind of like business as usual, but nothing about this for our neighbors is business as usual. And so we are asking for more. And yeah, I'm sorry that that has evoked a sense that I don't know, we're not operating in good faith, or that we're unduly critical of y'all. We have been trying for about a year now, coming to these meetings, trying to get things moving. And it has been slow, honestly, too slow, but we have been operating in good faith, and we appreciate you all listening to us and hearing our neighbors' stories, and for the continual partnership, because we do need more.
Thank you, Ryan. Next speaker.
Aaron Weiner.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Weiner. I'm a Hudson County resident and a member of the Latino Action Network, LAN. Professionally, I'm a data analyst and a systems analyst. LAN is right now involved in a landmark lawsuit for ending school segregation in New Jersey. At our meetings, a common item that continues to come up in the research is the rates at which students with IEPs are being denied admission to the 3 county schools: Prep, the School of Technology, and Explorer. Specifically, families believe that students with individualized education programs face a harder path to acceptance at county schools, not because they're academically unqualified, but because these schools may lack the resources to serve them. I've heard this enough times, and I thought it deserved a serious look, because my instinct when I hear about a pattern is to look for data. So I did look on my own. The most recent public data I found was from the 2023-24 school year. It shows that a large percentage of county school students, about 95 out of 918, had some form of IEP. That number tells me who's enrolled, but it tells me nothing about the greater applicant pool or what happened to them. So I want to find some information. Commissioner O'Day, I'd like to ask you on the record whether you'd be willing to help me get answers to these 3 questions that I have, broken down for each of the county schools. So the first one, how many students applied in the most recent admission cycle? 2, of those applicants, how many had an IEP at the time of application? And 3, of the students with IEPs who applied, how many were accepted? I want to be clear, I'm not trying to accuse anybody of anything. What I have is a pattern, different families and different conversations all raising the same concern. Seeing this data regarding the IEP made me feel like I needed to dig a little deeper. I found that there are some other issues that are contributing to segregation in these schools. Things like an admission fee, an application fee that can't be saved, an application that can't be saved in progress and must be finished in one sitting, requiring a major to be selected at the age of 13, subjective interpretation of the privilege doctrine, and a preparation capital filter. Again, I'm not trying to point fingers or assign blame. I specialize in analytics, and I'm gathering data to learn about the problem. These data will help to target particular issues that can then be studied and addressed with equitable resolutions. To that end, I have a couple more requests. I'd like to see what the ethnic breakdown is of the applicant pool. And because the data that I found the most recent is from 2023-24, I'd like to know whether there's more recent data that exists and whether it can be made available. If the data shows that the IEP students are being admitted at the same rates as everyone else, I can go back to the organization and tell them. It would be a good thing to know. But if it shows something different, I think this community deserves to know that too. And I'd like to work with this board on what comes next. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We're going to get you the email for superintendent of schools after the meeting of the superintendent, so you can email and get the data that you're requesting. Want to see either Abe or Carol Jean for his email.
So I'll go a step further. Can you, at your leisure, take the transcript of Aaron's presentation? And then I will also make sure it is emailed directly to the superintendent, requesting that they respond.
Mr. Warner, can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Al.
Also, among the data, the analytics, I'm wondering if it's
The mic.
possible to
I
break
can't.
out-
I don't need the mic.
I wonder if
He can't,
it's
he doesn't
possible
feel
to
well.
Break out cost. I mean, as a student with an IEP, would seem to me at first blush to have a higher per pupil cost as opposed to a student with, who is in the normal mainstream as opposed to an IEP. Is that possible? I mean, is there some financial undercurrent to this that maybe your data could enlighten? I don't know.
I think you're answering, right?
I didn't hear
Yeah.
most of that.
All right, you know
Oh,
what?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, after the meeting, I'm gonna
Okay.
talk to Al. He doesn't feel well.
After the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
And it would have been great if somebody from the schools of technology
That- yeah.
was here, because then we would have
Yeah.
directly connected
Yep.
Aaron to them
Yeah.
and saved a lot of time and effort.
All right.
There's definitely nobody on, correct? Okay, from both the schools and the college? Okay, continue, next speaker. That has
Saul
to be addressed.
Viga, Saul Viga,
Next speaker.
Hugh Morley.
Next
You
next
spoke already?
speaker.
Thank you. Sharon Lopez. You spoke already. Okay. Roxania Marquin. She
Next
left?
speaker.
Okay,
Okay.
I think.
And
You okay?
Anapaya, I think it's Paramukupos.
spoke.
You spoke already? Okay, that ends my list of speakers, Chairman. And that's the end of the business for the board. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Kenny?
Second? All
Second
in
by,
favor?
aye.
Meeting's adjourned.